Hey everyone, welcome back to Speakly English. I'm Alex, and I'm really happy you're here with us today. Today's topic is something we all love talking about, our weekend. Think about it for a moment. Weekends are special, right? They're full of relaxation, fun, maybe a little adventure, and sometimes even doing nothing at all. But here's the interesting part. Talking about your weekend in English is one of the easiest and most powerful ways to improve your speaking skills. Because it's personal, it's real, and it's something you actually experience. So today, we're going to help you express your weekend in simple, natural English.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma, and I absolutely love this topic because weekends are where real life happens. During the week we are busy with work or school, but on the weekend we relax, we meet people, we enjoy our time. And these moments are perfect for practicing English. When you can talk about your weekend, you can have real conversations with people. You can connect, share stories, and express your feelings. So today we're not just learning sentences. We're learning how to tell your story in English in a way that feels natural and confident.
So Emma, let me ask you something. How was your weekend? I always feel like this is one of the most common questions in English conversations. People say, "How was your weekend?" And sometimes learners don't know how to answer. For me, this weekend was actually quite relaxing. I didn't do anything very exciting, but I really needed some rest. On Saturday morning, I woke up a bit late, maybe around 9 a.m., and I just stayed in bed for a while, checking my phone and enjoying the quiet moment.
That sounds really peaceful, and honestly, sometimes a quiet weekend is the best kind of weekend. For me, my weekend was a little more active. On Saturday, I decided to go out with a friend. We went to a small cafe and we spent a few hours just talking and laughing. It wasn't anything special, but it felt really good. And this is something important for learners. You don't need big or exciting stories. Even simple things like "I went to a cafe" or "I met my friend" are perfect for conversation.
Yes, exactly. And I think one important thing is using past tense naturally. For example, instead of saying "I go to cafe," you say "I went to cafe." That small change makes your English correct and clear. So when I talk about my weekend, I say, "I stayed at home, I watched a movie, and I relaxed." These are simple past tense sentences, but they tell a complete story.
That's such a good point. And I also like to add details to make the story more interesting. For example, instead of saying "I watched a movie," you can say, "I watched a movie at night and it was really interesting." Or you can say how you felt, like "I felt relaxed" or "I felt happy." Adding feelings makes your English more expressive and more human.
I agree. And on Sunday, my day was a bit more productive. I decided to clean my room, which I have been avoiding for a long time. You know that feeling when you keep saying, "I'll do it tomorrow," but you never do it? Finally, I did it, and honestly, it felt great. After cleaning, I felt more organized and calm. So I might say, on Sunday, I cleaned my room and felt very satisfied.
Oh, I know that feeling very well. For me, Sunday is usually a mix of relaxation and preparation. I like to prepare for the week ahead. So I might say, on Sunday evening I planned my week and got ready for Monday. This is a very useful sentence because many people do this. And again, it's simple but very natural English.
And let's talk about common phrases people use. For example, people often say, "I had a great weekend," or "I had a busy weekend," or even "I had a lazy weekend." These expressions are very common and very useful. You can start your answer with one of these phrases and then explain more.
Yes, and you can also ask follow-up questions. For example, if someone says, "I had a great weekend," you can ask, "What did you do?" This keeps the conversation going. And that's the goal, not just speaking but having a real conversation. English is not just about words. It's about connection.
Exactly. And I think learners should practice telling their weekend story step by step. Start with Saturday, then Sunday, then how you felt. For example, on Saturday, I went out with my friends. On Sunday, I stayed at home and relaxed. Overall, it was a nice weekend. This structure makes your speaking clear and easy to follow.
And don't forget to keep it simple. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need to communicate. Even if you make small mistakes, it's okay. What matters is that you are speaking, practicing, and improving every day.
All right, now let's practice together. I want you to listen carefully and repeat after me. Take your time and speak slowly. Let's start with a simple sentence. I had a great weekend. Say it again. I had a great weekend. Feel the words. Don't rush.
Very good. Now let's add more detail. On Saturday, I went out with my friends. Repeat slowly. On Saturday, I went out with my friends. Great. Now connect it with the first sentence. I had a great weekend. On Saturday, I went out with my friends. Say it again.
Excellent. Now let's try Sunday. On Sunday, I stayed at home and relaxed. Repeat. On Sunday, I stayed at home and relaxed. Now say the full story. I had a great weekend. On Saturday, I went out with my friends. On Sunday, I stayed at home and relaxed.
You're doing amazing. Now try to make your own sentence. Think about your real weekend. Maybe you visited family, watched a movie, or just rested. Say it in English. Don't worry about mistakes. Just speak.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. Remember, your weekend is your story. And when you learn to tell that story in English, you become more confident and more natural.
Yes, and don't forget, practice is everything. Speak a little every day, even if it's just a few sentences. Over time, you will see a big improvement.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who wants to improve their English.
And tell us in the comments. How was your weekend? Try to write it in English. Take care and keep speaking.
See you next time.